The PS5 Pro is everything wrong with modern gaming and the gaming industry as a whole in 2024. It's already bad enough that games these days cost $70, standard might I add. Games aren't even being put out, that's not even being finished on time and have to be finished later, and on top of that, it's being prepared for modern audiences. It's already enough that we have to deal with that, but now PlayStations are costing as much as iPhones. $700 fucking dollars. $700 for the PlayStation 5 Pro. These people at Sony and PlayStation are smoking crack if they think that anybody in their right mind is gonna pay $700 for a doggone PlayStation, bro. This is why your Uncle Gwoppy tells you on a routine basis that modern gaming is an absolute joke, and this is also why your Uncle Gwoppy tells you that modern gaming is nothing short of an absolute scam.
But imagine how tired we are. Imagine how tired we are of it.
And you guys know that I literally grew up with the Sony PlayStation. I am a Sony pony until the day I die. I always loved PlayStation. But I'm sorry, but I'm glad that I joined the PC Master Race, because this is just unacceptable, deplorable, and it's just straight up shiesty shit. The absolute balls that's on Sony, the absolute nerve, that's just straight up the cojones on Sony to put out this PlayStation 5 standard for $700, which is also going to be 700 pounds or euros, or I don't know, whatever fucking monopoly money in the UK. Then it's going to be around 119,000 yen in Japanese currency. But they also have the gall to not even include a vertical stand and say the vertical stand is sold separately.
I beg your pardon?
Shit, I'm surprised that it even comes with a controller, even though that it's supposed to be $700 console. You can at least sweeten the deal by putting in a vertical stand, putting in a headset, or putting in something else, I don't know, to sweeten that deal, because $700, this is not the latest iPhone, man. $700, this is not tickets, this is not front row tickets to a Lil Baby concert. But then Sony has the audacity to run around saying that it's gonna be the most powerful console ever, the most powerful console ever. Okay, if it's supposed to be the PlayStation 5 Pro and it's supposed to be apparently 2 or 3 times faster and better than the overall base PS5, why is it still running the same exact CPU in the PS5 Pro and the only thing you upgraded was slightly better memory and a slightly better GPU in it that's supposedly up there with a 3060 Ti? And if that's the case, my 3060 Ti and my $1,600 gaming computer setup before I threw a 4070 Ti in it and $700 worth of upgrades in it can run games even more than that. How the fuck did you screw this up anyway? Oh, but apparently their excuse for this was apparently, oh, it has better ray tracing and quote-unquote advanced ray tracing, and it has AI-driven upscaling, which pretty much translates to they added DLSS from the NVIDIA drivers over to the PlayStation 5 Pro. That's pretty much what it translates to. But somehow that justifies it being $700. Oh, and add insult to injury, it still costs $300 more than what the base PS4 Pro did in 2016. And I don't want to hear any Sony ponies down in the comment section saying, oh, you're betraying PlayStation. Oh, like they put you on the games to begin with. You said that you grew up with them. Why don't you like this? This is an improvement. People will just gaslight and just straight up defend anything that these corpos put out, even though they know damn well it's overpriced. It's either that or they use a damn bullshit inflation excuse for every little thing that's overpriced. And quick story time. Y'all know my boy Michael, aka Sushi, on the channel. He's been in a lot of videos of mine over the past decade, and he actually was the reason why I actually ended up getting a PS5 anyways, and he helped me get a PS5 because he knew how much I wanted one, so he helped me out, and he didn't want to share his PS5, even though he visits me all the time. He could just bring it over so I could play God of War Ragnarok, but that's besides the point. Anyways, I'm feeling kind of bad now because it's like now with the PS5, okay, I got done with God of War Ragnarok, I beat Miles Morales, all I have to play now is Spider-Man 2, which I'm gonna pick up in a couple days, and it's like, what other games can I play? Aside from Gran Turismo, what other games can I play to justify this type of price tag for $700 if I were to get a PS5 Pro? Because we all know good and well why Sony is doing this. I'm pretty sure we got the memo and we're on the same page as to why Sony is putting out this console for $700. You want to know why? It's because of that goddamn bullshit DEI pushing excuse of a game rather, called Concord that literally crashed, failed, and burned and died in 8 days and cost it $200 million to make. Literally $200 million on that Concord game, and it failed, crashed, and burned like a fiery phoenix in just no short of 8 or 9 days. They are clearly hurting. Their pockets are clearly hurting. But clearly, to me, it's better off that they actually write it off as a tax write-off, because they at least get that money back some type of way, even though they don't pay taxes, might I add. But still, this is just highway robbery that is $700 for a PlayStation, bro. A fucking PlayStation. The main reason we all got into video games anyways was because it was cheap, and it was a nice cheap hobby to have. You buy a PlayStation, which is $400. Games are what, $40, $50, $60 at the time before inflation, even though it's a bullshit excuse. As to why games are $70 now, it came with 2 controllers. It usually came with a couple games if you bought a bundle. Then games were always on sale 3 months after a game came out. But now it's getting to the point where controllers are $200. Disk drive, if God forbid your disk drive on your PlayStation gives out, costs $80. The stand, if you want to stand it up vertically, that doesn't come with the console, might I add, is $70, or not $70, it's really more $30, but still, the point still stands. All of that stuff adds up. So it's really getting an expensive hobby to get into gaming these days, especially when you don't have any games to justify it. And dude, I had a conversation with my boy Michael, aka Sushi, on the channel the other day, and I told him straight up, when me and him were discussing the PlayStation 5 Pro price news, like, bro, I straight up told him that PlayStations should not be costing as much as the newest iPhone. And I told him before I got my iPhone 14 Pro, and this also a sort of a side story that I'm also just gonna throw in just to solidify my point. When my 13 Pro iPhone gave out, right, literally within a month, I got my money back, and I decided, you know what, I'm actually just gonna spend it a little bit more on an iPhone 14 Pro Max, and I'm gonna call it a day. Now, because I originally switched from a Galaxy A21, which was a horrible phone, but then I was sitting down, and with me and my dad have the same exact phone, and I straight up told him there's no such thing as nice, cheap, and affordable phones these days, because the latest iPhone, the base model of an iPhone, pretty much costs more than a base PS5. And it should never cost more than a PlayStation. I'm talking about a new phone. But now, we're having PlayStations and trims of PlayStations and Xboxes cost more than the base cost of an iPhone. And y'all already know, when I was talking about the Grand Theft Auto 5 Expanded and Enhanced video, when I first talked about it, might I add, they talking about that it was going to be $70 and it was going to be expanded and enhanced. And I said, what's so expanded and enhanced about it? Is Trevor Phillips going to bust through the TV screen and give me a hand job right there in my bedroom? Well, at the same price of $700 for that damn PlayStation 5 Pro, for that price, a video game character better jump out the screen and literally top me off like a gas pump right there in my bedroom.
I'm done.
Yeah, you done all right, you goddamn hoe.
Fuck you.
Well, come on, baby.
For $700, that doggone PlayStation better give me the best sex I can ever dream of, tuck me in that bed at night, and rub me on the side of my head and tell me that I'm one of the most underrated YouTubers that anybody will ever watch here on YouTube.com. If it can't do any of those things, I'm sorry, I don't want it in this household. It's not allowed in this household. Oh, and the cherry on top of this whole entire ordeal is that I actually decided that I actually wanted to even consider getting a PlayStation 5 Pro, so in the event if I do end up going to the midnight release of GTA 6 and I do so happen to get a physical copy, right, I can at least play the game at its desired frame rate, at a high frame rate, because of course the PC port won't get here for another 2 years. So, and I can have a better experience than what I did with Red Dead Redemption 2 on the base model PS4. Y'all remember that, right? When the Red Dead Redemption 2 came out on the PS4, it could not handle it. The fan would always sound like a jet fan whenever you turn the game on and load up Red Dead Redemption 2.
Hey, Chris. I should have got an Xbox, bro. I should have gotten an Xbox. I hate doing this every time I get a new game. I feel like a firefighter in this hole.
So I do not want that problem with my PS5. But now it seems like that is out of the equation. But now we even have a bigger problem. You want to know why? Because the 30th anniversary edition of the PS5 Pro that's gonna come out soon and is available for pre-orders is not only already sold out, but people is already scalping the disk drives, and they are still scalping the doggone joysticks that come with the PS5 Pro controllers that they released like a year or two ago, which I have, by the way. They're good controllers. I just paid a little bit less because I got mine pre-owned. But they're still out of stock. They're still scalping them and selling them for 3 or 4 times the price. They still have not learned from the 2020 scalping trend when the world was literally ending damn near and everybody was just reselling sneakers and Jordans and buying up PS5s with their Biden checks and their social security checks or whatever the hell they were buying with their checks with the Biden bucks. Like, they haven't learned a thing and they are still out of stock of these doggone joystick controllers. So in the event if my PS5 Pro controller ever gives out or the joysticks ever go out and I need to replace them, I have to pay some doggone scalper triple the retail price for a singular Joy-Con. How has PlayStation gotten this popular as to where you can't even buy shit through their own goddamn website anymore? And now I'm gonna end off this video on this note. If you want to buy the PS5 Pro, so be it. I'm just gonna look at you sideways when you do. But if you want my honest advice, you guys and my viewers are not suckers, okay? Yes, you that I'm pointing to right now, you're not a sucker and you're not an idiot. So if you're actually legit debating on getting a PS5 Pro, here is my advice. Get you a mid-level PC, gaming PC instead, okay? Gaming PCs is actually better than the PlayStation 5 right now at this very moment. Because not only are you going to have access to literally every single game that there is on the market if you have Xbox Game Pass, or if Sony actually puts it out on Steam eventually if it's an exclusive title, but of course you're going to be able to do a lot more with it, you know, because it's a computer, but it also has better support for drivers and DLSS support if you actually go with an NVIDIA graphics card with it. And on top of that, which would seal the deal for me, is that you can emulate any game you want from any generation of console. So why the fuck would it logically make sense for you to buy a PS5 Pro? You're still gonna play video games on both regardless, but the PlayStation 5 Pro can do a lot less than a gaming PC, and a gaming PC can do way more than a PS5 ever will. So the moral of today's video is fuck Sony, okay? Ever since the PlayStation 4 came out in 2013 onwards, they wanted to compete with Xbox, and they wanted to beat Xbox so bad because back then when the PS3 and the Xbox 360, when the real console wars was going on and they were hitting the mattresses like the Sopranos, Xbox was whooping their ass in terms of sales. You want to know why? Because you have to purchase Xbox Live so you could play online on your games. And they seen in the boardroom, they saw this and they were like, well, Xbox make this amount of money from Xbox Live, so we should turn PlayStation Plus into Xbox Live, or our version of Xbox Live, so we can make a little bit more money and compete with them, even though all our services for online games are completely free, which was why people bought PlayStation 3s over the Xbox 360 anyways. Ever since then, they have completely become money hungry and just became the iPhone of the gaming industry. They literally became the Apple of the gaming industry. The PlayStation, to me, is now considered to be more of like something that iPhone or Apple would put out. Like, honest to God. Because to me, with Sony putting out a $700 console and calling it the PlayStation 5 Pro is something that Apple would do with their iPhone lines. You literally have the iPhone, you have the iPhone Pro, then you have the Pro Max, which is literally no difference between the Pro Max and the Pro. But anyways, still people buy it up anyways. People just consume, and don't vote with their wallets. So we're going to see how this one turns out. We're going to see how the sales figures for the PS5 Pro turns out this time. Because if nobody was buying that doggone garbage ass Concord game that they were trying to force representation, even though that goes without saying in a game, because games have always been diverse, they're just putting more of an emphasis on it these days for quote modern audiences. And that game crashed, failed, and burned, and they lost $200 million. We're going to see how the PlayStation 5 Pro turns out. Because I can tell you right now, I'm not buying a PlayStation 5 Pro to play GTA 6 on it. I'm not doing it. Modern gaming, everybody. Don't you enjoy it?